Hey guys, I am Zone. This is a Gamer's Oasis. We're going to talk about another Patreon video. So you're seeing a little bit more how the sausage is made, how I decide certain things like who my porters are, who my torchbearers are. This is a live early prep that will lead hopefully to more streamlined actual play in the moment, and takes a lot of this out of my hands and puts it into the hands of like whatever randomness you want to call this. Let me go ahead and just set the premise real quick, and we'll get into this a little sooner. So, uh, porters. Porters are one of those selected groups that is going to be strong with a secondary of higher constitution. If they're not strong, if they're not able to carry things, then they're not going to carry something. That doesn't mean there's not a place in this world for them. What that means is that the selection of people that would be considered porters are going to tend to be stronger. People who tend to be weaker tend not to do hard working jobs, or they get stronger and become porters, or whatever they might become. So, sages would be wise and intelligent, because you don't want someone who can't read and is illiterate trying to be a sage. They wouldn't do well. Masons are going to be strong and have constitution. But those two selections don't really matter at this point. The next thing I'm going to talk about in the next video is going to be a torchbearer. And like I'll talk more about in that video, torchbearers don't really have to have any stats. I'm just rolling stats for them so that we have them in case we need them in a very critical moment. We know it's already defined. We know we didn't put a guy with a 3 strength in a place to try and hold doors open. That type of stuff. So yeah, let me go ahead and get into this a little bit more. So because of that, porters are going to have one of those focus stats that I talked about in the character creation, where I'm going to roll 2d6 plus 6, making the real total for porters to be between 8 and 18. And then all the other stats are going to be 3d6. So certain classes will have the primary roll stat, like ROLE, not ROLL. That's going to be 2d6 plus 6. So, yes, that's how that's going to work. For races, I'm going to roll a d8. Depending on what I roll, will be the type of human or demi-human it is. Human will be selected in the first roll. To let you know, I do have 5 different types of humans. There is no difference between my humans. This is purely a heritage, culture, and appearance thing. So I have 2 different types of white, per se, races. One is more curly haired and heavier set, and then the other one is usually more straight haired, and they're neither are one really like taller or bigger or whatever. Hair color doesn't really matter. They range the gamut of hair colors. Eye color doesn't really matter. Both these groups are so diverse in what they do and their relationships, that unless you get into a very specific clan that has interbred or is that way, all these groups don't have a persistent thing other than the length and not the length, but the straightness of their hair, essentially. Both groups grow beards. Both groups have blondes, have brown hairs, black hairs, red heads. So that part doesn't matter. Getting outside of that, I have a group of blacks. Think of like a lot of African tribal blacks. Not necessarily that they live that way now. They have different levels of civilization. So a person who comes from the most primitive type of black tribe can be found in the most high-tech city if that's where they took their life. There's no anything of that nature. Same thing with islanders, and same thing with desert people. I wrote desert people just because it's a hot topic for this time of year. For it's a hot topic in the last, I don't know, 50 years. So I'm just going to go ahead and list them as Black, Islander, and Desert, not really go with a specific culture or group, and kind of let those show up if they show up, how they show up, not in a whole group, but like this group of NPCs all come from this town and share these whatever, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, trying to be very sensitive in those type of things, but I wanted to have 5 different types of humans, and I feel like that was literally the best way. Now, if I roll a 1, give me a second here. If I roll a 1, then I got demi-humans. I have 2 different types of dwarves. There are more hill dwarves than there are mountain dwarves. I've talked about the fact that mountain dwarves are very rare in my world. I have halflings, which are the largest of the groups by individual groups, but they share the same number of chance as dwarves. It's just there's 2 different types of dwarves. Technically, there's more than one type of halfling, but I only allow one type of halfling to really be played. Then we have 2 different types of elves, high elves, wood elves. Very generic. Again, it comes down to the initial culture of the group, their belief systems, this type of stuff for more definition on that. So now we know that. Let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, guys, I'm going to share my screen real quick here. You can see I've got my mouse over here. I got my Excel program, whatever this might be here. And then over here, I got a place for dice to be rolled. Let me get some dice. Let me roll my blue plastic dice here, or polyurethanes, the polyhedral, I don't know. I'm going to be rolling these blue dice here because they show the pips really well. So one of the things I've learned while making these videos is that I am not happy with the D&D dice. That is much harder to tell that that is a 7 than it is to tell that that is a 6. And I don't want to be so zoomed in that you can't see anything else. This is going to be my camera, both where the miniatures are being moved and so whatnot. Like I got some partially painted bugbears over here. I don't want to be so close you can't see that that's a bugbear or see what else is around it. And I don't want my dice unreadable. I want people to be able to read it. Like you can see that's a 7 from certain angles, but you start getting in other directions and is it a 2? Is it a 1? Like which one was which? What's that? Is that a 3 maybe? I mean, so you get the general idea. So I'm going to be ordering some oversized dice. These dice here are 16 millimeters. The dice I'm going to be ordering are 25, so that's almost 50 or 100% bigger. And then I'm going to be rolling the dice I need so you can see them a little bit better, and we'll go from there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to worry about names later. That'll put a little bit of randomness to it, and I'll show that at the very end of the video. But we're going to quickly go over this real quick. Let me get a D8. See if this gray one shows up better. Yeah, you can see that better. All right. First one, we're going to start with a 7. So he is a human. This type of human is an islander. Once I get these in here, they'll start to populate faster. He's going to be a porter, so he's going to get 2d6 plus 6 strength. So he's going to have a 16 strength. And we'll go ahead and roll his 5 dexterity, his 11 intelligence, and his 12 wisdom. His constitution I want high. This guy is not going to be a good porter. And he will have a 14 charisma. Next one, 2. So he will be an A human. Or let me try that human A. Okay. And then, actually I'm going to change that like that too. Human I. Now let's go ahead and get a strength. Another 16 strength. That is awesome. 15 dexterity. This guy has real potential. That is a 12. Why could I get stats like this in the PCs? Good lord. 9. And if things go the way the PCs, I'll have like a 6. No, I have a 10 Constitution. Now, some might ask, what does Constitution have anything to do with being a porter? So there is a rule that states, 3, going to be the same human type. And he'll have a 13. So there's a rule in original Dungeons and Dragons that states, actually I'm going to do something real quick. That's why I'm doing it that way. So I can get to it faster. 13 strength. Okay, so there's a rule that states on the party can travel 5 turns inside a dungeon or 5 days in the wilderness, and then on the 6th turn or day, they have to rest or they suffer a level of exhaustion. If you have, in this case, a porter, and you're carrying stuff, and you have a 13 strength, and you have a 13 Constitution, then you can go 6 turns or 6 days before you need a rest, which means you're never waiting on the porter. However, the Islander with a 3 Constitution that has like a neg 2 or neg 3 or whatever that is, basically means every 3 or 4 turns, or 2 or 3 turns, you have to stop because he's exhausted. He's got no endurance at all. So the ideal would be having a high Constitution and Strength for that particular class. And of course, that means you pay them better for that. Wow. 16. And there, 12. 8. And the reason why I'm rolling stats now, another 10, is because in the future, if this guy ever becomes a party member, I want to have the foundation for what their stats are. Ooh, I need to also roll whether they're male or female. Completely forgot that. Insert column. We're going to make this I'm going to say this is a 50-50 for, I just put an S there. I don't think I'll write that word either. Well, and we got to make it center. Okay, so 4, 5, and 6 is male. Female. You know, I'm going to put a G for gender. Female. Male. Yes. Cool. All right, so I'm going to roll a D6 with my D8. So I know this is going to be a black male. That is not what I do. Male. Okay. Then we'll roll 2d6 for another 13. I actually feel like I can streamline this one more way. We have a 13. We have a 12. We have a 5. We have an 11. We have an 8. That does not want to do. Look at this first dice roll. So we are 4, which puts us at type inhuman. We are a female. And we have a 12 strength. And we have a 12 dexterity. And we have, wow, a 12 intelligence. And we have a 9 wisdom. And we have an 11 constitution. None of my dudes or dudettes are high constitution yet. So it's going to be female. It's going to be an inhuman, type inhuman again. And we're going to have a 14. And then we'll have a 12. And then we'll have an 11. And we'll have a 13. Then we will have a 10. And then we'll have a 9. So this is going to be a male. 5 is type N. And we're going to have an 8 strength. We're going to have a really high dexterity. What is that? A 13. Not as high as I was thinking it was. That's high. Okay. Smart guy, why are you a porter? Because you're extremely wise. That's why you're a porter. What in the world's going on with that stat group? Apparently you wanted to train legs this day. And you convinced people it was a good idea. Interesting. Alright. So this is going to be a desert. It's going to be a male. Alright. And then it has he has a 16 strength. That is a 15. Oh, that is an 18. My goodness. That is a 10. Finally, that is a 13. And that is a 12. Okay, guys. So I've had a couple pretty lucky rolls on intelligence and wisdom. And really with that early one with dexterity, 15, 16 dexterity, just because a person starts out as a porter doesn't mean that's what they're going to be doing for their whole life. I kind of see character progression on the NPC side of things like that too. But I will make it random so we don't have any favorites per se. Though we will have, for sure, have favorites. But it will be organic favorites. It won't be designed favorites. This will be a type A human. I have not rolled a no, excuse me, a demi-human yet, which is fine. Just mildly surprising. We have a demi-human. It'll be a female. Let me roll this again. Female number 4 is a halfling. And we have a starting strength of 12. So if you were to ask me if I'd have a female halfling porter, I would be like, no, I don't plan to ever have a female halfling porter. Not because I don't believe in them, but because that's a pretty far out there role to do. Now, if you'd ask if that halfling porter would have a high dex, I'd probably say yes, just because halflings in general have a high dex, but I think that's just the spirit of the dice talking here. 14 constitution, very nice. We have almost got our first +1 in both those stats. We have another decent stat of things. Okay. So we have a male. This will be type 6, which is going to be a black male with an 18 strength. And now we need to roll his other stats. Decent, very decent. Oh, I was really hoping for a high intelligence here too. 9 is good though, not bad. Ooh, 14. That's pretty good. Get a decent constitution out of this. Oh my goodness. This guy's a god compared to what I've rolled so far. Oh. Oh my. That's a 16. No, that's a 17. Wow. I have a cleric that would gladly just take it, any of those stats except for the 9 maybe, and put it anywhere because his high stat is a 12. Holy cow. I'm so glad I made this video now. Okay, so we have another female demi-human. Number 2. This would be a hill dwarf. Oh yeah? Let's try this again. Female hill dwarf with a 14 strength. Man, I'm just blown away by the 18 and a 17 charisma and a 17 con. Like, I'm so envious of that character right now. I can't even get past it. That thing has shook me. And it has a decent wisdom too. I am shooketh. But, to be fair, rolling 20 characters, that's bound to happen. To have someone with a high stat now, that combination's a little rare. I probably won't see that again, ever. Alright, so we have another Islander, a male Islander. With a 13 strength. So we got the first part. Nice 14. What is that? 16? A 9. Come on. Not quite. 11. 11. Okay, so this is going to be a type A human. First of all, female. You know, if we're being 50-50, I have probably more females than I do males. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess I take that back. It just seems like there's a lot of females. I have exactly 50%. That's my apologies. Hope that's not me being biased in some way. It just feels like I've rolled a lot of females. Maybe it's just because of the 2 demi-humans both being females. All right. We got 12, 13, 5. Oh my goodness. She's not going to be a cheap porter, that's for sure. Oh, she's not friendly at all with her 5 charisma. She's that one named Olga. Matter of fact, I might just put that in there. All right, so we have another type A human. Let me go here. Olga. Sorry. This is a male with a 12 strength. 14 dexterity, a 13 intelligence, 11, 16 con, very nice, and a 13. Oh, we got another 18 though. So this is going to be a female. Interesting. Was my other 18 female too? No, it was a male. Okay. This is going to be a black human with an 18. Was my Interesting. Both my, well, my two 18s are both black. Very cool. All right. And it's going to be a 10. Oh, I was hoping for higher strength, intelligence. I want that high strength, high intelligence porter for that weirdness. 15 wisdom. Oh, again with the 3. It's so brutal. I've rolled that twice. Both on con. Ugh. With a 4 charisma. Hilda. Just so I don't seem like I don't have any other 5 charisma, right? That's 4 or 5 charisma. That's I want to make sure I'm not picking on the females in this. I'm not. Okay, good. That's the wrong line. Nope. Okay, so this one here is going to be female. It's going to be a type N human with a 12 strength. 11. 14. Nice. Excuse me. I don't know where that came from. 9. And an 8. It's going to be a type N, male. A 14. 8. 12. 16 wisdom. Okay. 16. Okay. And charisma. A 7. I'm going to put over here. Pay. Make sure I put this over here. I want to kind of set some ground rules for that real quick. So, any of the demi-humans are going to be paid more because they all have their benefits. Whether you're paying a porter who's a halfling to travel in the wilderness so your stuff is more safe because they're able to hide better, whether you're paying for a dwarf or elf for the infravision, those are just going to pay more. Now, having a good combination of stats will pay more too. So I'm going to basically have everyone gets paid 1 unless they have a 13 strength and con, a 16 strength and con would be +2 instead of +1, and an 18 in both will be I'm going to say 5 because good Lord, no one does that. Okay. And that's basically how that's going to go. So, I'll write this down real quick. Demi-humans are 1. 13. Con. Okay. So the most you can have is plus 6. So that'd be a 7. And I'm going to do that at the end. Let's go ahead and roll these last 2 and I'll figure out that. So we have a female type A. With a 13 strength. With a 13 dex. With an 8 intelligence. With a 13 wisdom. Bum, bum, bum. 8 con. Nice. 13 charisma. I'm going to put one more plus in there. Plus 1 if you have a 16 charisma. Because you get along better with people. And people just want to pay you more. There is a bit of a factor of that. So we're going to have a male. This will be a type N. 13. This will be a 14. Be an 11. This will be a 10. There we go. It's going to be a 16. That's a 15. Okay. Human. Negative. Neg 1 for a 6 con. Four to 6 con. Neg 3 for a 3 con. I think that's the way it works. Okay. Three con, human, decent strength. Yeah. Still, we're going to say neg 2. Oh, first thing I got to do. first thing I'm doing is changing all the numbers in this area to be text, not a value that they're trying to like add and subtract. Those technically don't count as numbers right now. Those count as letters. All right, we have another human. He is pretty standard. I guess I could see a 16 con or 16 strength being worth more, but I don't know. I'm not going to get into that right now. Another one. Sadly, another one. This guy's worth a 2. One. So this one's a 2 because it's a halfling. Oof. Okay. So 16 to 17 strength and con is a +2. This is a human, so it's going to be a 3. Oh, 4. High charisma. It's a dwarf, so it'll be a 2. 1. We have a 2 because of constitution and strength. Not doing negative for charisma. Porters aren't exactly known for having to speak a lot. This one has a -2 as a porter. Probably take him as a fighter. He's really strong. Open that door. But you have problems. And you'd have to figure out what percentile that is. So 1. So this one here is going to be a 2. 1. And 2. All right. Okay, guys, so this has been my video on porters. I'm going to go ahead and do one more roll real quick. I'm going to figure out which porter this is, and then I'm going to replace that porter by making a... so I have a list of 20. Then in the future, if I ever need to roll a porter, I'm going to roll a d20, and I'll go ahead and add that to the... it'd be quick. It just boom, and it's added to the group, and we already have all the stats and everything figured out. This is something that as you go into it with levels, I'll explore personality traits and this type of stuff. These guys are meant to be in the background, just kind of doing a thing. But I wanted to be able to have stats and an understanding of what they are at the most surface level before we explore maybe what they are later on. So that's what we have here. All right, let me do my dice roll quick, and we'll go from there. All righty, here we go. No whammies, right? That is a 9. If you can see that very well. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. That is a 9. This one right here. This will be my porter. He'll be a human, type A male, with an 11 strength. We got 15 intelligence and 13 wisdom. 12 con, so not bad. Very good stats. Highest con in the group. Cool. All right, well, let me go ahead and get into this, and I'll do my results and have all the names up next time.